Imagine this. You step right into a postcard. You've got these towering, snow-capped peaks, water so blue it almost looks painted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And trains that pull in exactly on time, like exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's Switzerland, isn't it? It just
Yeah.
brings up these images of incredible beauty, luxury, perfect order.
It really does.
But, beyond that perfect picture, what's it actually like to be there? Is that kind of perfection something everyone can experience? Or is it, well, just for the super rich?
Yeah, that's the big question.
And how do you even navigate these huge landscapes without, getting lost in the beauty? Or maybe lost in the cost? We should probably figure that out.
Well, welcome to our deep dive. This is where we try to cut through all that noise and just give you the really valuable stuff.
Yeah.
Today, we're digging into Switzerland. We've got a whole stack of sources here, travel guides, some analysis, insider tips too, and we're going to try and decode it all.
Exactly. Our mission here is to get past the glossy brochures,
Yeah.
We want to arm you with the details you actually need. We'll look at that unique mix of wild nature and, well, human precision. We'll break down what a trip might really cost, like for different budgets, how to actually use that amazing transport system.
Which is legendary.
Right. And share some smart ways to get the most value. Think of this as like your guide to doing Switzerland right without maybe the stress or the huge expense you might expect. Okay. Let's get into it.
Okay, so the first thing that just jumps out from all the sources is that nature in Switzerland.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just pretty scenery. It's really the main event.
Yeah.
The Alps are everywhere. They dominate. We're talking icons. The Matterhorn, the Jungfrau. They literally shape the landscape, the air, the views. It's this land just carved out by nature, and it feels, well, huge, full of adventure.
And what's so fascinating is the contrast, isn't it? Between that raw, wild nature and the human side of things. This incredible precision and efficiency.
Totally.
The sources keep mentioning it, how Switzerland just runs like a perfect watch. Public transport is always on time. Cities are planned so carefully.
It's not just about being neat either.
No, it actually makes a huge difference to your trip. It makes getting around feel almost effortless, connecting you to all that wild beauty really easily.
Absolutely. And tucked away in these mountains, thousands of lakes. One source said over 7,000.
Oh, wow, 7,000.
Yeah, and they're not just, puddles. They're these shimmering blue jewels like Lake Lucerne, Lake Geneva. Adds a whole other layer. And it's not all sharp peaks either. You get these lovely valleys, meadows, villages that look like they haven't changed in ages. It's a real mix of landscapes.
And that carefulness, that precision, it leads to quality too, doesn't it?
Definitely.
The Swiss reputation for quality, it's not just hype. The sources back it up.
Yeah.
You see it in the watches, obviously, but also the chocolate, the service. The standards are just really, really high.
Which does make it expensive, we have to say that.
True, it adds to the cost. But often you feel like you're paying for something that actually delivers real quality.
And it's also this interesting mix of cultures, especially for a country that's, well, pretty small geographically. You've got German, French, Italian as the main languages, reflecting the different borders. But one source even points out that Romansh is still spoken actively in places like Graubünden.
Romansh, right. I read that too.
Yeah, and this isn't just like a language fact. It means you get these distinct regional identities, different flavors across the country, adds a lot of depth.
Okay, so you've got this incredible nature, this efficiency. What does that actually mean when you're planning what to do?
Well, you absolutely have to get into the Alps. Hiking is huge. The sources talk about endless trails, all really well marked, from easy walks to serious climbs. Places like the Jungfrau region, Grindelwald, Lauterbrunnen, or Zermatt, right under the Matterhorn, they're basically hiking heaven.
You really feel like you have to hike there.
You do, but the sources also make a point that you don't need to be like a pro mountaineer to experience the heights.
Oh, good.
Yeah, these amazing mountain railways, cogwheel trains, cable cars, they take you up to these unbelievable viewpoints. Jungfraujoch, it's got the highest train station in Europe, took a 9-kilometer railway to build it.
It's incredible.
And near Zermatt, there's one of the world's highest cable cars. You get these insane glacier views. They aren't just transport, they're experiences in themselves.
And of course, if you're there in winter, it's all about skiing and snowboarding, right?
Yeah.
Places like Zermatt, Verbier, world class.
Absolutely. But even beyond the mountains, the lakes and cities are stunning too.
Like Lucerne.
Yeah, Take Lucerne. It's kind of the perfect mix. You've got the famous Chapel Bridge, the one with the 17th century paintings inside.
The wooden one, yeah.
That's it. Amazing history. The old town is just super charming, and you can hop on a boat on the lake, get different views, or even connect straight to a mountain trip, like up Mount Pilatus. It shows how the city, the lake, the mountains, they're all linked.
And Zurich. People think of it as just finance, maybe.
Yeah, it gets that reputation, but the sources definitely paint a broader picture. It is a major hub, sure, but it's got a really vibrant old town, lovely areas by the lake, and one source specifically mentions a big art scene, street art, lots of museums, especially down by Lake Zurich. It feels both global and quite cultured.
Interesting.
And then there's that Swiss Riviera the sources talk about along Lake Geneva.
Right. Sounds fancy.
It kind of is. You've got International Geneva, the UN, that massive fountain, loads of museums, and then you contrast that with picturesque Montreux, famous for music, Chalon Castle. And one source highlights the Lavaux vineyards there, these terraces right on the lake, a different kind of Swiss scenery.
And Bern, the capital, that medieval center looks amazing.
It really is. Cobblestone streets, those sandstone buildings, clock towers. Plus, you can walk along the River Arve, visit the Einstein Museum, see the bears.
Bears.
Yeah, the Bear Park, it's a thing. And there's Basel with its unique Fastnacht Carnival, apparently a wild 3-day party. Or the Rhine Falls, Europe's most powerful waterfall. St. Gallen, less touristy, full of students and cool architecture. Appenzell, this tiny village keeping old traditions alive near amazing mountains.
Wow, okay. So much variety.
Exactly. You can go for big cities, history, lakeside chills, or these tiny traditional villages like in Graubünden where they still speak Romansh and you find houses from the 13th century. The point is, you're not just getting one thing in Switzerland.
Right, okay. Let's switch gears. Something crucial. Food.
Ah, yes. Cheese and chocolate paradise, right? The sources definitely lean into that.
They have to fondue, raclette. They're iconic.
Yeah.
So communal, so cozy. Perfect way to try cheeses like Gruyere, Emmental, Appenzeller. They feel like more than just dinner. They're events.
Totally. And the chocolate, I mean, it's not just candy, is it? It's like an art. You've got the big names, Lindt, Toblerone, sure. But the sources say definitely look for the smaller artisan chocolatiers, too. The quality is just consistently amazing, rich, creamy.
Okay, I'm sold on the chocolate. What about, like, proper meals, hearty stuff?
Oh, yeah. Especially after being outdoors. Rusty is the classic, that crispy potato pancake thing.
Love Rusty.
It's pure comfort food. You can have it as a side or with eggs, bacon, cheese. Yeah. Then there's Zürcher Geschnetzeltes, that Zurich-style veal in creamy mushroom sauce, usually comes with Rusty.
Sounds substantial.
It is. And even breakfast can be hearty but healthy, like Bertram muesli, oats, fruit, nuts, yogurt. Very Swiss.
And drinks. Anything local we should know about?
Well, the sources mention Swiss wines, especially from those Lavaux vineyards we talked about. Apparently the beer is surprisingly good, too. There's Rivella, that unique soft drink made from milk whey.
Milk whey. Interesting.
Yeah. And even absinthe from its original home in Val de Travers. But here's a really key practical tip from the sources about eating out.
Okay.
Sit-down dinners are pricey, like really pricey. But lunch specials are apparently the way to go. One source said you can find them for like 9 to 15 Swiss francs. Much, much cheaper way to try local food without spending a fortune.
9 to 15 francs. That's a great tip. That makes a huge difference.
It really does.
Okay, speaking of francs, accommodation, Switzerland, expensive, right? That's the stereotype. The sources confirm it, but they also show their options, yeah.
Absolutely. For budget travelers, hostels are a solid bet, often really high quality there. Some even have private rooms. Dorm beds, one source says around 30, 40 francs. Another puts it maybe 40, 80 USD. So in that ballpark.
Okay.
Camping is even cheaper in summer, maybe 15, 30 francs a night. And the sources actually list specific recommended hostels in places like Basel, Interlaken, Zurich, Geneva, Bern, which is super helpful.
That is useful. What about mid-range? Like not a dorm, but not fancy.
Yeah, you're looking at hotels, maybe budget hotels starting around 70, 120 francs, according to one source, maybe more like 180, 350 USD, according to another. So a bit of a range. Apartments or chalets, they call them hut, sometimes can be great value, especially if you're in a group or staying longer. Maybe starting around 70 francs plus on Airbnb for an apartment. Private rooms on Airbnb can be cheaper, maybe 30, 50 francs.
Right. And luxury. Sky's the limit.
Pretty much. High-end city hotels, incredible mountain resorts in Zermatt or St. Moritz. You're easily looking at $400 USD and way, way up from there. Over $1,000 a night isn't unusual in top spots.
Well,
Key things are location, mountain views cost more, city centers cost more, and season. Peak summer and winter are most expensive, and definitely book ahead for those times.
okay, got it. Now, the thing everyone raves about, transport, the sources seem to agree this is where Switzerland just nails it.
Oh, completely. It's not just good, it's arguably the best system in the world for a traveler. Trains, buses, boats, even the mountain railways and cable cars, it's all integrated, it's extensive, and it runs exactly on time.
Like clockwork.
Like clockwork. Locals use it all the time, and crucially for you, the listener, it means you probably don't need a rental car. Often it's just more hassle and more expensive with parking and gas.
Right. So this brings us to the Swiss Travel Pass. This seems important.
It's critical for many tourists, yeah. It gives you unlimited travel on most trains, buses, boats, plus free entry to over 500 museums and discounts on those expensive mountain trips.
Okay, what's the damage?
Ranges from 232 francs for 3 consecutive days up to 429 francs for 15 days. Non-consecutive options exist too, but here's the crucial insight the sources really hammer home. You have to do the maths for your specific plan.
Don't just assume it's cheaper.
Exactly. Calculate the cost of your planned journeys individually and compare. It might save you a lot, or it might not be worth it.
Is there an alternative?
Yeah. The Swiss half-fare card costs 185 francs, lasts a year, and gets you 50% off most transport trains, buses, boats, even most mountain railways.
Okay.
But again, do the math. The sources say it's only cost-effective if you plan to spend more than 370 francs on full-price tickets. The best advice is to use the official railway website, sbb.ch, to check fares for your routes and compare.
SBBC. Got it. Good tip. And those scenic trains, like the Glacier Express.
Right. They're almost attractions themselves, blurring the line between getting somewhere and the experience. The travel pass doesn't fully cover everything, especially some mountain transport, but the discounts help. And don't forget, walking in cities is great, and cycling is really popular too.
Are there any super cheap options?
Well, the sources mentioned Flixbus runs some routes between cities, and it's way cheaper than the train like Zurich to Bern for maybe 6 francs versus 40.75 on the train.
Big difference.
Huge. Also, BlaBlaCar, the ride-sharing thing, cheaper, and you might meet locals. Needs flexibility, though. And apparently, hitchhiking is still pretty common and feasible in some mountain areas if you're adaptable. Flying within Switzerland, totally unnecessary.
Okay, makes sense. Right, let's get to the bottom line. The cost analysis. We've said it's expensive. Sources agree. No sugarcoating.
Nope. But they always pair it with the idea of value. You're paying for quality, efficiency, that pristine nature. The key for you is just smart budgeting.
So can we put some numbers on it? Like a daily estimate?
Yeah, the sources give some ranges. For a budget traveler, think maybe $100, $200 USD a day, or around 95 Swiss francs per day, according to one source. That means hostels or camping, cooking most of your own food, hitting supermarkets like Coop or Migros, strategic use of public transport, maybe the half-fare card, and focusing on free stuff like hiking and walking tours.
And crucially,
Limiting alcohol. It's really expensive there. That's a key budget saver mentioned.
okay, mid-range.
Maybe $250, $500 USD a day. Or starting around 200 francs per day, it gets you maybe a private Airbnb room or a budget hotel, a mix of cooking and eating out, maybe those lunch specials we talked about, probably using a Swiss travel pass for convenience, and including some paid attractions or mountain trips. Maybe even a day of skiing, one source suggests.
Luxury.
It starts around $600 USD or 400 francs a day and really goes up from there. High-end hotels, fine dining, private tours, the works. 400 francs is just the entry point for luxury.
Right. So how do people actually save money? What are the top tips from the sources?
Okay, number one, definitely cooking your own meals. Supermarkets are way cheaper than restaurants. One source estimates maybe 125 francs for a week's groceries if you cook a lot.
Cook lunch, maybe eat out for dinner sometime.
Yes, exactly. Or picnic. Buy bread, cheese, chocolate, find an amazing view. Perfect Swiss lunch. Number two, use those cheaper lunch specials if you do eat out.
Number 3.
Water. Carry a reusable bottle. Tap water is excellent everywhere, safe to drink from fountains too, unless it says kein Trinkwasser. Saves a surprising amount of money and plastic.
Good one. What else?
Do the transport pass calculation. Seriously, figure out if the Swiss travel pass or half-fare card saves you money. It's often the biggest potential saving.
Right.
Limit alcohol. Buy it at the supermarket if you must, but even that's pricey. Stick to happy hours or hostel bars maybe. Focus on free activities, hiking, exploring cities on foot, hanging out by the lakes.
Travel shoulder season. Stay in smaller towns.
Yep, both mentioned. Can mean lower prices, fewer crowds. Ask for student discounts if that applies, often 20% off museums. Check city cards if you're doing lots of sightseeing in one place. couch surfing for free accommodation, BlaBlaCar for cheaper rides. These are all in the sources, too.
Lots of practical tips there. Okay, timing. When's the best time to go? Does it matter?
It really depends on what you want to do. The sources are clear. Each season offers something different.
So summer, June to August.
That's peak season. Warm weather, long days, perfect for hiking, swimming in lakes, all mountain transport is running. But yeah, more crowds, higher prices. Swiss National Day is August 1st. Could be fun.
What about spring or autumn, the shoulder seasons?
April, May, and September, October. Often a really good balance. Spring has wildflowers, waterfalls are powerful from snowmelt. Autumn has beautiful fall colors, crisp air, fewer crowds than summer. High mountain trails might still be snowy in spring, though. One source calls autumn Zwischenzeit ski towns, might be quiet, some things closed, weather a bit iffy sometimes.
And winter,
Yeah.
November to March.
Cold, snow, shorter days. But prime time for skiing, snowboarding, Christmas markets, that whole winter wonderland vibe. Ski resorts will be expensive, but cities might be cheaper outside of Christmas week. Need layers.
So the takeaway is?
For general sightseeing, hiking, aim for maybe May through September. For guaranteed snow and winter sports, obviously go in winter.
Makes sense. Let's briefly touch on culture. The languages are interesting.
Yeah, that mix of German, French, Italian, plus Romansh, it creates real regional differences. But the good news for visitors, as one source notes, is that English is widely spoken in tourist areas. Communication usually isn't a problem.
And the punctuality thing, it's real.
Oh, it's real. It's not just a stereotype. It's like a core value. Expect trains on time, things to be orderly. It really helps make travel smooth if you just embrace it.
And they respect nature
Right.
and rules.
Deeply. That incredible cleanliness isn't an accident. Following hiking rules, disposing of trash properly, it's expected. Big civic responsibility vibe.
Anything else about the people?
Often described as sort of quietly confident, pragmatic, value quality. Not flashy. Their direct democracy system, with all the referendums, also means people are generally quite engaged. And you can still see Alpine traditions, cowbells, festivals, especially in rural areas. It's charming.
Okay, last big topic. Safety. Switzerland feels incredibly safe. Is that accurate?
Extremely accurate. It consistently ranks as one of the safest countries in the world. Violent crime is very rare. You generally feel very secure even walking around cities at night. It's a big plus.
But what about outdoors? Mountains can be dangerous.
Right. Outdoor safety is crucial. The sources really emphasize this for hiking. Stick to marked trails, have the right gear layers, proper boots carry water and snacks. Always check the weather forecast because it can change incredibly fast in the mountains. Tell someone your route if it's challenging.
And skiing.
Follow resort rules, know your limits, use proper gear, and pay attention to avalanche warnings, very important. Same for lakes, be aware of cold water, currents.
Any crime to worry about? Pickpockets.
Very rare, but possible in super crowded tourist spots, main train stations, popular attractions. Just basic awareness, keep an eye on your stuff. One source mentioned a small uptick in Geneva recently, but stressed it's still really safe overall. Standard precautions apply, including for solo female travelers, it's considered very safe.
Good to know. Emergency numbers.
Good idea to know them. 112 is the general European emergency number, 117 is police, 144 ambulance, and 1414 for air rescue, which is RBA, the helicopter service.
And the water again, just to be sure.
Yep, safe and delicious pretty much everywhere from taps and fountains. Unless you see a sign saying, "Kein Trinkwasser" or "No drinking water," drink up.
Okay, so wrapping this up. Switzerland. It really does seem like this country of, well, near perfection, amazing Alps, clear lakes, that incredible efficiency, quality stuff like chocolate. It definitely costs, no doubt about it.
For sure. But hopefully we've shown through the sources that the value is there. And if you plan smart, use those tips, the transport passes, cooking some meals, finding lunch specials, enjoying the free nature. It's much more accessible than you might think. It really is a journey into Alpine excellence, that mix of wild nature and precise organization.
It really is. So after hearing all this, what part of Switzerland jumps out most at you? Is it the scale of the mountains, that smooth transport, or maybe the challenge of doing it smartly on a budget?
You know, what's really fascinating is how Switzerland manages this balance. It's incredibly wild, untamed nature, right? But you can access it with this hyper-modern, perfectly on-time system. Its ancient landscapes meets futuristic efficiency, local traditions meet global finance. It's super expensive, yet somehow you can navigate it affordably if you know how.
Yeah, that contrast is the key, isn't it?
Maybe the real takeaway isn't just how to visit Switzerland. Maybe it's about what that unique Swiss balance holding on to raw nature while embracing meticulous organization could teach us, about finding a bit of structure and beauty in our own complex lives. Something to think about, maybe over some really good Swiss chocolate while you plan that trip.